It's been more than 20 years since Adrian saw the last of De La Salle College in Sydney.
It's strange. It's a bit daunting, actually. Yeah, from one point over here, I was able to see the office. There happened to be someone sitting outside the office, but it jogged a few memories.
Painful memories of sexual abuse he suffered when he was a young boy. Adrian was 10 years old when he first met religion teacher Errol Swain, who lived in a caravan on the school grounds.
So that's the original science box, and actually tucked in behind there was where the van used to be located all the time.
It was in that caravan during weekend visits that Swain would show Adrian pornographic films and sexually assault him. During school hours, Swain regularly sent Adrian to his office for punishment, where he would molest him.
He would explode in the classroom when sending me out. So I bet every student in that class felt that, you know, I'm a goner, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to be punished. So it was a role play on his behalf.
See the original science block just over there.
The abuse continued for 2 years. Then, when Adrian was 15, Swain committed suicide. Many years later, Adrian told his story to the Royal Commission and discovered that he wasn't the only victim.
Sometimes you can think that you're the only person that something has happened to, but that's not the case. And that's where that was confirmed, that other people had already been there and spoken to the Royal Commission about the same person. So that was a bit of an eye-opener too.
Adrian is now suing the college for damages. He alleges the school knew, or ought to have known, that Swain was a, quote, habitual sexual abuser of boys and failed to ensure his safety.
Your claim occurred a long time ago.
His case is one of a dozen claims that lawyer Ross Koffels is preparing against some of the country's most prestigious private schools.
It is a systemic problem in the institutions, in the schools and in relevant government departments where children were being looked after.
What will be alleged in these new claims?
Sexual abuse of the students during school hours in most cases and on the school premises. It just really couldn't be worse.
Ross Koffels has already filed 10 claims in the New South Wales Supreme Court against De La Salle College Revesby, Knox Grammar, the Scots College and Waverley College. He'll file another 2 claims in coming months and says he's investigating a further 8 cases.
I was shocked and outraged when David told us of the abuse.
It was hearing weeks of evidence about widespread child abuse at his former school, Knox Grammar, that galvanised Ross Koffels into action.
It was horrendous. I was deeply affected by what had happened because I had a recollection of the places, the rooms, the school, the playgrounds where it occurred. I knew a lot of the teachers by name and I was just completely floored.
The Royal Commission heard disturbing accounts of a group of paedophile teachers abusing school children, most of whom have now been charged and convicted. After the Knox hearings last year, Mr Koffels went public and has been approached by a large number of men who alleged they were abused at other elite schools.
It just seemed to me to be the same problem in school after school after school. And yes, that the surprise to us was how many schools, how many students are affected.
They include one of the nation's most exclusive and expensive private schools, the Scots College.
So the current position is that we have the statement of claim filed.
Tom Jackson's parents wanted to give him the best education money could buy.
Them requiring particulars from me.
Instead, his school life was miserable. He was 13 years old on a school trip to the outback when he was abused by the head maths teacher, John Beckett.
It was on the third night we had made it to South Australia. There were some rules during the when it came to sleeping time where we weren't allowed to sleep with our underwear on.
It was a hot evening and Tom accepted Beckett's offer to help cool him down.
His approach to that was to run his fingers up and down our chest. And it worked. It cooled me down. And it was on a voluntary basis, like, who needs it? It was like, yeah, I'll try it, or something like that. And so that was it. That sort of set the scene. And then he said, I'll come back later if you like, and if it's, still hot, I can try it again or something like that. And he came back again later, while most people were asleep. I'd say, don't know what time it was, maybe 3 hours later or something like that. And did it again, and this time, though, continued down to touch me everywhere.
Tom confronted Beckett the next day and he denied any wrongdoing. Tom was miles from home and felt angry and confused.
I was 13, puberty. I questioned my sexuality from that point onwards till, having to do a lot of work on it therapeutically. And
Tom says he started acting up at school and barely passed the HSC. It took him another 9 years to tell his parents.
Instantly my dad was like, we've got to go and see the school.
Was anything done?
Not to my knowledge. Beckett taught for another 2 years.
It was only when 2 witnesses to Beckett's assaults on boys came forward that a criminal investigation began. Tom and 2 other victims were interviewed and Beckett was charged. Last year, he was convicted of sexually abusing boys at Scots College and Trinity Grammar. Ross Koffels is now suing the Scots College on behalf of Tom and 2 other students who were abused by Beckett on that trip in 1989. He'll allege that Beckett was a notorious pedophile and that the school failed to protect students from his sexual predation.
I hope that it'll force the schools to have new procedures so that these things can never happen again.